Alright, so you're ambitious but exceptionally lazy. You have all these goals and aspirations in mind, but you don't seem to have the desire to bring them to fruition. Don't worry, brother, because I've been in your position once, and I was able to break free from this habit, and now being ambitious has become second nature to me. So, how did I do this? Well, first we have to address the why. Why do I have all these goals set in mind for 2025, but I don't seem to have the drive or motivation to start? And the reason for this is because our brains tend to follow the path of least resistance. We have the tendency to avoid difficult options or circumstances because we want to avoid pain as much as possible and select choices that provide the most pleasure. This is called the pain-pleasure principle, coined by the Austrian neurologist Sigmund Freud. And don't worry, this is not your fault. This is just simply human nature. But like I said, I was able to remove myself from this and manipulate my brain into ambition-seeking actions. How? By using these 3 simple steps. The last step is the most powerful psychological trick out there, which you can use to manipulate your brain out of laziness and ultimately achieve all your goals. So I highly suggest you watch until the end. So the first step is by taking baby steps. The reason why most people don't have the motivation to start any of their tasks is because the task itself can look like a heavy overload. So for example, you have a 5,000 word essay to complete in the next week. Looking at this task at face value may seem overwhelming, but it's not like you have to complete this essay within a day. Although this may be ideal, it's just simply unnecessary and you're better off by taking baby steps towards this task. So for the first day, you just have to tell yourself to complete only 100 words. This is far from completion, but at least you've made some progress as opposed to none. And on top of that, it will likely result in you continuing your essay completion beyond just the 100 word mark, which actually leads me to my next step, which is called the 2-minute rule. What is this rule, you may ask? Essentially, doing a task for only 2 minutes will likely result in you doing the same task for longer. It will spike your motivation levels significantly. So the essay, for example, starting it for the first 2 minutes will likely result in you writing more than 100 words, which will result in your essay being closer to completion. Think of this like pushing a heavy ball down a hill. Pushing it upwards is often the hardest part, but the second it passes the highest point, it rolls downhill on its own. Similarly, once you start on any task, starting is the hardest part, but the second you build momentum, the motivation comes quicker than usual. Now, I mentioned earlier in this video that this final step is a manipulation tactic you can use to brainwash yourself to escape laziness. But I just want to let you know that if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Now, the final step is called cognitive reframing. This is a psychological hack in which you can change the way you think about a situation to alter your emotional response and behavior. You shift your mindset in a way that helps you move forward rather than stay stuck. So, anytime you're approaching a task you must complete, instead of saying, I don't want to do this, flip it into something positive. So for example, if you're overweight and you don't feel like going to the gym today, tell yourself, if I looked incredibly jacked, I'm going to garner more respect from my peers and more girls will approach me. Or if you don't feel like studying, tell yourself, if I study hard for this test, my parents will be so proud of me and I'm going to build a positive reputation in my class. Cognitive reframing is not about ignoring reality, but rather choosing a perspective that empowers you rather than limits you. So let's rewind. In order to break free from laziness and start turning your goals into reality, you need to 1. Start with baby steps, 2. Utilize the 2-minute rule, and 3. Free-frame your mindset. Remember, every successful person on this planet was never perfect. They suffered from laziness just as much as you did, but the only difference is they stayed persistent and never gave up. And you can do the same as well. So start taking action today.